Welcome back, or if this is your first time, welcome to the YouTube channel of Cascadia Living Wisdom. I believe that by the time this will be posted, we will have just released my latest book, This and That, Pondering Polarities as a Doorway to Hidden Wisdom. I had to look down to make sure I was reading the subtitle correctly. So what I want to do today is say a few things about this book, and let me start with its title. I'd like to introduce the book by looking at the title, because before I write a word of any book, I always write the title. And in fact, I then always write the subtitle. In a remarkably linear process, I then actually write the preface. And then I get to a first chapter and I have no plan, no idea exactly where I'm going other than the title. So I'm going to start with the title. Why this and that? Why didn't I call it this or that? So let me say a few things by way of background to that I hope helps you engage with this book. And I do hope that you'll be ordering it and reading it soon. Karen Armstrong, an author who has influenced me a good deal in her book, The Case for God, says we have become far too facile and, let's say, comfortably familiar with the transcendent one that we name as God. And that often, therefore, the things that we speak of as God, and in fact, our speech about God, flies in the face of the transcendence of the ultimate one whom we're trying to speak about. Because it's curious that even though Christians might say that they believe in the transcendence of God, that God is more than anything that we can imagine, not reducible to humanity, not reducible to humanity, but can express in humanity. That in spite of that, we're very quick and confident in our assertions that we make about who God is, and that's usually a he, what he thinks, who he loves, what he expects, and on and on. And so Armstrong urges some caution. But this is why I have long loved the mystics, the Christian mystics in particular, but all mystics. But let's stick with the Christian mystics today. The Christian mystics have been clear that anything that we say about the ultimate one, about the holy, transcendent one that we might name as God, as I do, that whatever we can say of God both reveals and conceals, or better, distorts. Meister Eckhart was more clear in that than many when he said that whatever we can speak of the holy, ultimate, transcendent one will, whatever we say, will distort as much as it reveals. And so this is why I have been so deeply influenced by the mystics, and why I find my own self within the Christian tradition with the mystics, not the dogmatists. The dogmatists are sure who God is and argue about the minutiae of the various ways of describing and characterizing God. The mystics stand with awe and tell us that whatever we might think of God, God is much more. And so this notion of this and that is a way, it's not a book that speaks about God, directly at least. I'm not sure that the word God is, that there's even a reference to God in it. There may be. But it emerges out of what I would describe as this posture of holding together the tension of what appears to be polar opposites, and looking for, and in fact, recognizing that when we avoid a quick summary dismissal of that tension, what do I mean? Let's just make this concrete. Life and death. Life is good, death is bad. Good and evil. Well, one's obviously good, one's obviously bad. If we can hold the tension of polarities of human existence and experience, we can see in the midst of that a deeper glimpse of truth, and we can live with more wisdom. And so that holding in tension is extremely difficult. Everything within us wants to declare moment by moment, this is good, this is bad. We say that about our experience. Oh, I'm so sorry, and the experience of others. Oh, I'm so sorry that happened. Or that's wonderful, you must feel really good about it. But think for a moment how in your own experience, things that were unwelcome initially carried greater blessings than you could have ever imagined. And things that were welcomed carried with them curses, dark sides, aspects of experience that one would have never naturally welcomed. So this is some of what I'm getting at in the book, without spending very much time talking about it, and that's why I wanted to say a few words this morning. In it, I reflect on some of the big polarities of human existence and try to enter the space between them and see what I can see. That's all. It's a way of fostering and cultivating a degree of openness that helps us know reality as it really is. Meister Eckhart, who I've just mentioned and who has been perhaps the most impactful of the Christian mystics for me and most shaping of my spiritual journey. Meister Eckhart says in many places and repeatedly that God is ultimate reality, but that reality can only be known when we recognize that it's hidden in mystery, that God is hidden in mystery, and the tension of polar opposites. Well, this is what I find comforting, not disconcerting. I had a friend that I was talking with recently about the book just prior to its release, and who was a little disturbed, wasn't a Christian, isn't even somebody that would describe himself as spiritual, but said, but why would you want to explore the middle ground when you can form an opinion and live with absolute conviction, even if you're not absolutely right? And I said simply that living out of a place that forms as few ultimate boundaries as absolutely necessary, and there certainly are a number that I live with, but they're few. It's a small number. That living out of that place that avoids judgment allows me to perceive reality in all of its complexities in ways that I wouldn't otherwise. And it allows me, therefore, to experience an inner expansiveness, an openness that allows me to see in everyone and everything what I see in myself. And that reduces judgment, massively reduces judgmentalism. So that's a few background words on the book. It may make you decide that it's not one you want to read. That's fine. That'll save you one book. But I hope that it will interest you enough to see how adopting this position of looking not through eyes that say either or, but eyes that allow you to at least consider the possibility of both and, can change your fundamental perceptions and ways of relating to yourself, others, God. They open us. They don't close us down. And anything that closes us down is ultimately a step towards death. Life is openness. It's fresh, new perceptions. If all I see are filtered through my prejudices and prejudgments, I'm not in touch any longer with reality. And that's a precursor to death. So once you have a chance to look at the book, do let me know what you think. Ask your questions. Please send questions to me at info@cascadialivingwisdom.com. Send them by email. Won't be able to answer every email, but I will definitely listen to and respond to what you're saying in future videos such as this and in the things that I'll be writing, books and blogs. If you haven't signed up for our newsletter through Cascadia, that's another way in which we can keep in touch. Please do that. You'll see an option to do that on the website, cascadialivingwisdom.com. And so I close now for today. Hope to see you again soon. Be well, and bye for now.